other. Larry Sharpe has traveled the country and has personally visited every The Sharpe way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio. So happy that you are with me this afternoon, WYSL, Rochester, New York. If you want to chat with me after this first chat, after the first break, 585 346 3000. The other day, I was talking to a friend of mine, and we brought up the old HBO show, The Wire. Have you ever seen it? Based in Baltimore, and it's basically about the drug war and the bad neighborhoods and the cops and the drug dealers and such, and how they react back and forth in Baltimore. Many seasons, great show, all those things. But the thing that I remember that stuck with me, many things stuck with me, but one thing that really stuck with me was a scene, or maybe a relationship, maybe it's better, between a mother and her son. And the son is not doing well in school, obviously. He's spending time with the drug guys, doing some sales and such, all those things. And when he starts thinking about, what can I do? What job can I get? Stuff like that. The mom, single mom, says, wait, look, you need to get back out there on the corner. That's how we're going to make our living. That's how we're going to make our money. That's how we're going to survive here. So I want to say it again. The mom is telling her son the right answer is to get in the corner and to get in a drug trade. This is a mom. It's not like, his boy from school or his buddy from, no, this is his mom saying this. You might go, well, Larry, it's a TV show. Come on, that's not what really happens. I'm not saying all single moms do that at all. I'm saying there are parents and friends and family members who decide that the best answer for themselves is to go into an illegal drug trade, which is absolutely going to probably end up in jail or dead or hospital or not good. Not good. And in the show, his dad was a victim of the drug war. And she still says, go do it. Why? Why would people go do it even though they know it's not going to have a good outcome? I mean, every once in a while there is a good outcome, obviously, right? Somebody makes it, to the promised land. But what's that? 1 in a million, whatever the number is. But they think, I'm going to go there. I would argue that in that person's mind, in the mom's mind, whether accurate or not, in that person's mind, that was the best option. She felt desperate, and desperate people do desperate things. And she thought, we got to pay our bills. How else can we do it? This is the way to get ahead. What else is there? That's what she believes. Wow. But let me go to another movie. Another film, maybe. And that is completely different, totally different era, totally different everything. And that is the World War II movie, Fury. If you saw that movie, that's a bit more recent. Brad Pitt's in that movie. It's a movie about American tankers in the army fighting in the last days of World War II in Germany. And they're fighting, and it's the end of the war. Everyone knows the war's going to end. This is 1945. Germans are going to lose. Everybody knows that. But people are still dying. People are still dying. They're still fighting. And they know they're going to lose. The war's over. So at one point, Brad Pitt's character, a sergeant, who's a tanker, talks to a captain who's telling him, here's your next mission. And the captain looks at him and says, Why won't they just quit? Why won't they just surrender? And Brad Pitt's character looks at the captain and says, would you? The captain walks away. I wouldn't. In the final battle scene, and I won't give you if you haven't seen the movie, I don't want to give it away. But in the final battle scene, they have to fight against an SS battalion, right? And then it's the end of the war. They're going to lose. And these guys are fighting fanatically. The Germans are fighting fanatically. And the German captain or lieutenant, the officer, screams at his men. He says, this is our land. This is our land. He screams at them. Attack, go kill them. And they go. They attack. Even though they're going to lose. He yells, this is our land. Why? Why would he do it? Why would he send his troops to their death? Why would he yell this, knowing he's going to lose? Why? He's angry. Angry people do angry things. People who are angry act accordingly. People who are desperate act accordingly. When you have an environment of anger and desperation, people will act accordingly. I'm going to go one more step. You guys know, it's not movies. This is real life now. I did a couple movies. Now I'm going real life. If you know what I do for a living, my day job, when I'm not doing this cool stuff, I'm a business consultant. Train people, teach people, consult, those types of things. One of the guys, leaders in one company, he says, I don't get it. I put this policy into place, the zero tolerance policy into place. And now people aren't reporting to me anymore. Now people are lying to me. I said, yeah, that's your fault. He said, what? He goes, no, you understand. I want to stop this. So I put a zero tolerance behavior policy in. I said, okay, that's great. So what you want from them is perfection. Yeah, no tolerance. I said, great. So you're demanding the imperfect human beings to be perfect. He went, well, I said, yeah. So let me give you a little tidbit. When you demand perfection, you will get deception. Guaranteed. You are asking people to lie. And so they are. You're asking them to deceive. And so they are. You're begging them to not disclose. So they're not. The environment you're setting up is for this. So what did I just talk about? In two movies that were based on actual things that actually happened, and in one thing that I actually dealt with, in each case, we got bad behavior. Either behavior that seems to make no sense, illegal, dangerous behavior, to aggressive, angry behavior that would literally create death and destruction, and then deceitful behavior that would hide or lie. In each case, did you notice I spoke about the environment? The environment. Larry, is that, oh my God, are you saying people aren't responsible for their actions? I am not saying that at all. You absolutely are, and so am I. But when I'm trying to set things like policy, when I'm trying to set things like government, when I'm trying to set an environment in a business, in anything where I have the authority or power or influence to decide on an environment, I can't only worry about the individual. I must ask myself, what incentives am I actually putting into play? What am I encouraging with that environment? Why am I doing that? Why, when it makes logical sense to not do the thing, they do the thing? Will there be bad people who will always do bad things? 100%. And will there be amazing people who will always be perfect? Or not perfect. Will always go out of their way to do the right thing? Of course. The average person acts like the average person and responds to their environment. And if I'm going to say that I'm the boss, or I'm the governor, or I'm the president, or I'm the police chief, or I'm the insert leader that I want to say, then I must be responsible for the environment that I create. Why do I say all these things? It goes back to this weekend, back here in New York City, which I always bring up almost every single week. Yet again, in my city, that has the strictest gun laws, that has the harshest gun laws, that supposedly all the guns have been they've been outlawed, banned, all gone. That's what they tell me. Ghost guns are banned. All the guns are banned. More shootings. Knowing that if you are caught with a firearm in New York State, just because you're caught with it, you're doing at least 5 years in prison, regardless of what you do with it. Now you start shooting people, 10, 15, 20 years. You're going away. And you know it. And everyone knows it. Everyone listening to this knows it. I know it. They know it. They do it. They still do it. Is our environment in this state one of anger, desperation, deception, or all three? Now, the guy who fired those rounds is responsible. As my friend Maj Toure would say, never put your finger on that trigger if you're not prepared to be responsible for whatever that bullet does when you pull the trigger. Don't even put your finger on it. He's right. And the guy, they think right now it's one or two guys. I forgot which one now. I think it may be two. But whatever it is, they believe now that they may have these guys. They are responsible for their actions. Are we responsible as New Yorkers for the environment that encouraged it? You tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe, Shortwave Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. Back with your calls and your chat. I do see you on the line. I will absolutely take care of the chat. All of that after the break.
Introducing the sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
To live the quality of life we deserve in truth and freedom, informed by our Constitution, our laws, and traditions, we need to pick the best leaders possible. Recent experience certainly illustrates that. Free and accurate elections are essential if we're going to restore our society and safeguard our rights. New York Citizens Audit is a volunteer, nonpartisan group which has been lobbying for open source audits of the State Board of Elections and reform of the electoral process statewide. Did you know Citizens Audit has uncovered over 1 million felony violations of election law? That in 2020, there were 625,000 more voter registrations than existing voting age citizens in just 6 New York counties, that there were 338,000 more votes cast than voters who voted. These are just a few shocking examples of the urgent need for reform. You can help. Visit auditny.com and learn the facts, how to volunteer, and make a difference in your community. Again, volunteer, donate, or spread the word. Start at auditny.com. That's auditny.com.
Sharpeway Radio on the WYSL stations.
Oh, yes. It is Larry Sharpe, Sharpeway Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York, 585-346-3000 is the number.
Keith.
And I was talking about the idea of desperation, the idea of deception and anger, and how that can encourage people to take steps. And if you are in charge, how you can change that and maybe fix that and make things better. Again, not taking away the individual responsibility, but as a leader, you have some too. And grab a call if I could. I will grab Keith. Keith, how are you, sir?
Fine. Hopefully you're doing well, too. You just stated David Thoreau's famous quotation, most men certainly from a guy point of view, most men lead lives of quiet desperation. And for everyone to know that, that was stated back in the late 1830s and the 1840s. So the point on that is people would think, well, less modern times, meaning less stress and strife. But no, that was right during the time of the Industrial Revolution. And even then, people were being put out of work insofar as hand manual labor jobs by the incoming machinery. I'll give you another quote from what you were stating earlier. This is from Abraham Lincoln. He said, God must really love the common man. He created so many of them. And
it's
really,
very good.
The point on that,
I think
man,
go ahead.
All right, I'll continue. I've always, for myself, damned God, speaking of the common man, for those of us who must dwell here at times on God-forsaken earth. Why God, in His wisdom and infinity, meaning infinity, there just did not give us better, higher conceptual faculties to get through this life that we are even forced to live. They say, correctly or not, that we only use 10 to 50% of our brains. But if we had those higher conceptual faculties, this is the problem when so many people today are just foolish and stupid. I'll give you a third one.
Hold on. Let me touch. You're heading down the road. Let me touch a couple things if I could. The first one about quiet desperation. I think you see it now, particularly in younger men. Most men, their life is a constant journey or struggle for respect. Not all men, but I think most men, that would be accurate. People say, well, women want that too. Yes, but not to the same level as men. And if that makes me a sexist, whatever, I guess I am. But I think clearly most men spend a lot of their life searching for respect. And when they don't get it, they act desperately. I think that's part of your idea of so many men live a life of quiet desperation. They would rather be respected than almost anything else. In fact, most men, when they surrender their lives, it's because of a demand for respect if they voluntarily surrender their lives. I think that's the biggest issue. So I think you're right on the money.
Another call on hold.
I'll also talk about your idea of, not knowing, not understanding. I think our Creator has given us free will, and there's good and bad to that. I think you're right. It's good and bad to that, but we have free will. We have the ability to listen, watch, learn, change, all those things. And we're going to make mistakes in school.
Mike
and sometimes
from
that
Rochester.
is a big one. So I think that can be a problem too. So did I cover what we talked about, Keith?
We got Mike.
Oh, I lost Keith already. Sorry. I hope I answered your question, Keith. I love what you said. I think it's very interesting. Let me grab another call if I could. Mike, how are you, sir?
Hey, Larry, pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing well. What's going on?
All right. Hey, I want to make a few points for you.
Go ahead.
In the movie Fury, those Germans were fighting for their blood and soil against invaders. So they were fighting to the end. And as losers, 80 years later, they're still fighting invaders by the mass hordes of illegals that have swarmed their country. Same thing that is happening to our country right now. Your little shooter there in Times Square, an illegal from Venezuela. The same ones that jumped the cops, illegals from Venezuela. So as Americans, we need to start fighting for our blood and our soil against these illegal
Let me touch a couple
invaders.
of those. I think your point's valid in that if you look at the more right-wing parties now in Germany, forgot the name of the party, AfD, something, I forgot the name of the party in Germany right now. It's a right-wing party. It uses all of the colors of the old regime, the Reich that is the third. They use those colors because in Germany, it is against the law to use any actual symbols, from the Nazi era. They cannot use it. It's against the law. You go to jail for having that stuff. So they just use the same colors. And that's what they'll use. Old colors, old flags of the old colors. So yes, that does connect to the Fury piece. But I'm not sure that's a good thing. In other words, do I want anyone to defend their land? I expect it. I would too, right? And I've said this more than once. People have said, Larry, why are you so angry about some of the wars, overseas? And I said, because I was a Marine. I still am in my heart. And would I leave my legs in the streets if I had to, as some of my brothers have? Yes. Not in the streets of Baghdad, not in the streets of Minsk, or the streets of, insert other country city. No. In the streets of Buffalo, New York, Rochester? Yes. To this day, I would still leave my legs in the streets of my city if I had to, if that's what it was to fight invaders. Of course I would. It doesn't mean I have to go to that level. Guess what I'm saying? I understand that. It doesn't mean you have to go to that level. And I want to make sure that part is clear. And when you bring up anytime you bring up the phrase blood and soil, while you are accurate, the imagery.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what I brought up. Okay, let's be honest with the ADF, and if you really study them. Okay, Germany in the last 15 years, all with the other European countries, have been flooded. You changed the politics. You flooded in. You brought in over 20% more people that were not born in those countries. Okay, you instead of having just regular immigration that you bring people in and out as needed, you flooded them with all these people. They don't do anything. They sit around, they suck up the welfare, and they're committing the crimes. And I know Dr. Savage could be looking up the statistics. All you have to do is look up all the statistics in the last 15 years of all the murders and everything. Sweden, one of the most homogeneous countries with almost zero gun crimes up until 15 years ago. Okay, now it's skyrocketed. So
hold on, let me touch those pieces if I could. Dave online lets me know it is the Alternative for Germany Party, the Alternative für Deutschland, AfD. That's the name of the party. So to be clear, that's the name of the party. But again, I got to be clear on this. And I say it all the time. I'm not against migrants at all. I think migrants are wonderful. My problem is always the same. The Swedish error was they had no plan. They just said, bring all these people in. Well, when you bring all these people in, it falls back to what I just said. Now you decide to bring in X millions of people into Sweden. They have no plan to get them jobs, no plan to get them housing, no plan for everything. Now they're desperate. They do desperate things. New York City, same thing. You can't, you obviously can. You should never have mass migration without a plan. So what my point is, not that the migrants are bad. I gotta go back to the same thing. Our planning is terrible. We had no planning. It was embarrassingly bad. And that's why this is happening. Could we have accepted massive amounts of immigrants without massive amounts of violence? Yes, we've done it before. America has done it before when they had an Ellis Island plan. We don't have that plan, Mike. It isn't the migrants that are bad. It is our planning that is bad. And if we don't have planning, then no migrants. But not because migrants are bad, because we have to be able to support the people that we have here. We have to be able to defend ourselves here. I want a plan. Otherwise, you can't do this. I want that clarity to be very obvious in my conversation. Does that make sense, Mike?
Sure does.
There we go. Thank you for the call, my friend. I appreciate it.
Have a good day.
So this is obviously a big deal. People are concerned. It's, I think, going to be maybe one of the number one issues. Mike is right about Sweden. Sweden has become a disaster, and it is because of their migrant population. That's true. So my question is, do I blame the migrants? Do I blame the system? Do I blame both? Or neither? You tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe, Sharpe Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
Just FYI, I had dropped Keith so you can get Mike in. Yeah, no, if you hear me say Mike from Rochester, then you know we're ready. All right. Yeah, because otherwise Keith will go on forever.
Welcome, Geneva.
WYSL.
Proud to be your local talk station for great conservative, all-American programming.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for today. Mostly cloudy skies, temps in the 30s. A couple of snow showers come in this afternoon. A few local lake flakes this evening into tonight. Can bring an inch or two for some locales. Mainly a dusting out there, but watch for a couple of slick spots. Colder into the teens and low 20s. On Wednesday, some morning snow showers and sun and clouds in the afternoon. Temps in the 20s and low 30s. I'm Rich Cornelia, WYSL.
Your go-to for standard of specialized business insurance coverage. MGM Associates of Rochester, now serving the region and beyond in New York. Since 1984, MGM has provided leading coverage from a wide range of carriers. Not only home, condo, boat, motorcycle, and auto, but also specialized policies for all types of businesses, including nonprofits and law firms, livery insurance, property insurance, and bonds for all needs. MGM Associates of Rochester provides auto, workers' comp, healthcare, and liability coverage. Choose from virtual appointments or good old in-office, in-person consults by appointment at our Penfield office. 5-time consecutive winner of the National Best Practices Award, MGM is proud to support veterans groups. For your personal, business, home, or professional insurance needs, meet the experienced staff at MGM Associates. Locally and proudly owned at 1745 Penfield Road in Penfield, 381-7008 or mgminsure.com. An associate of United Frontier Mutual Insurance, 190 Davison Road, Lockport, New York.
Dear Dr. Sussman.
Dear Dr. Sussman, I just wanted to write to all the wonderful people who work with Dr. Sussman and Dr. Pogel at the Center for Cosmetic Dentistry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Each person in the office made me feel my smile.
Not only am I completely happy with my smile, but I feel you've been there for me with all my dentistry
I've had several dentists in my life, but never a dentist of your caliber. You have state-of-the-art.
You keep current in your field as evidenced by your numerous diplomas and certificates, and your entire staff is really the queen
I'm
of the
thrilled with the outcome of your skills and artistry. It's made such a difference in my life.
Dr. Sussman, Dr. Pogel, and the entire staff at the Center for Cosmetic Dentistry take great pride in providing not only advanced dental care, but extraordinary cosmetic dentistry. They love what they do and have a partnership with their patients toward long-term dental health.
For a bright, confident, beautiful smile.
Thank you, Dr. Sussman.
Thank you, Dr. Pogel.
Thank you.
Change your life, change your smile.
For more information, call the Center for Cosmetic Dentistry at 22 Smile or visit 22-smile.com.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
Now get big midwinter savings on the Comfort Buddy, Aaron Moore's famous smaller heater for the guest room, laundry room, or sun porch. The Comfort Buddy offers the famous Aaron Moore advantages like no exposed hot surfaces, child and pet safety, plus big energy savings from turning down your furnace. Call 800-707-8725, extension 2 to get your special sale price. Upgrade your Comfort Buddy with an optional air purifier. Don't forget to use the promo code WYSL, 800-707-8725, extension 2 to stay warm and save.
We like red. It's about people who like red. It's about passion and tenderness. Liking and loving and kissing and holding and late night touching. Connection. Show her like you, like you, like you, like red. Show her. We like you and you and you and you and you. Show world like red.
Baskin Livestock's success in recycling food waste into animal feed comes from a focus on growth and a belief that there's value in what others are tempted to discard. their bank feels the same. While other financial institutions cycle through business relationships, Tompkins Bank knows the best things are worth preserving and lead to long-term growth. Tompkins, your bank of choice. Find out more at tompkinsbank.com.
Tom Walls uses a glass pie plate to press out every cheeseburger one by one. We don't cut corners. I'm Austin from Avon Tom Walls. Stop in and let me cook you the best cheeseburger of your life. Tom Walls. Good. Good.
Tom Walls.
Sharpe Way Radio on the WYSL stations.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Way Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York, 585-346-3000. Talking about New York and desperation, talking about migrants, talking about all the issues we have here with violence and gun laws and all those things. It is a big deal, and I think one of the biggest ones, one of the hardest ones that we have to deal with. By the way, I have some breaking news coming in from the chat. Patty up in Plattsburgh says, just now in Little Plattsburgh, New York, an active shooter was fired from his job at the hospital, went home, got a gun. He was irate. He was just arrested 2 streets over from me. Well, at least they got him, so that's good. Thank you for your breaking news. I do appreciate that. Joe is teasing me. He says, you want government planning? It doesn't have to be government, Joe. You know my plan. I don't mind private recruiting companies coming in and taking care of this, doing the background checks. I don't mind. I'll take government too. I'll take a plan. That's what I want. Yes. If we don't have that, you can see what happens. And I think Sweden is the perfect example of that. Sweden had no planning, private or government, nothing. And to be forward, Mike is correct. Sweden has become one of the most, if not maybe this year, maybe the most violent country in Western Europe. And they were one of the safest, if not the safest. They have swapped. And this data is in. It is from violence from the migrant community in the case of Sweden. Now, to be forward, in America, that is hardly ever true. Generally speaking, migrants are some of the least violent. That has changed, though. Just recently in New York. Why? No plan. That's the difference. What's changed now than before? New York has taken large amounts of immigrants in the past. Ellis Island is literally the example. Took millions of them. But there was a plan. Here's how we let them in. Here's where we put them. There were community solutions back then. For those who didn't know, a lot of community solutions at that point. There wasn't as heavy of a government support structure at all. So it wasn't government planning. But there were a lot of local community support systems in place at the time. So I do think it could work. I think it did work. Well, better at least. So yes, I guess. I'm not sure if that was right. Jeanette says, no way we can have mass immigration without housing. Supply chains up to speed. Agenda 2030 is not an acceptable plan. Hello, Larry. Hello, Jeanette. I appreciate that. And again, I do believe planning is critical. If we don't plan, again, government or otherwise, this is what Mike says is happening and has happened in Sweden and will happen in other countries too. And so what's the reverse, right? Here's the problem. And I'll go country to country in this area. Hungary is in the opposite. Hungary is like, nobody's in. They're all got to go, right? Or all out. Throw them all out. Throw them all out, right? That's the other option is what Hungary's done. But there can be another option. The worst option is what Sweden's done, because what's happening with Sweden is there is going to be a backlash of nationalism, and it will not be the good kind, if you know what I'm talking about. It'll be the kind that has that very special symbol. It'll be that kind of backlash. And we are seeing it. Now, the AfD in Germany is not that. But those elements 100% live in that party. And the more we don't have a plan, the more those elements will gain power. The more that will happen. Again, we see that in Sweden now too. So if I have a choice of a Swedish model or a Hungarian model, I would take the Hungarian model if I had those two choices, because the odds of a serious backlash go down in Hungary because you have pushed the migrants out or not allowed them to come in. But I think the best answer has been the previous American answer, which is plan effectively, government and or privately, and let the migrants in legally. Give them an opportunity to come in a regular way like everybody else. You can do it. It's been done. We're just not doing it now. So yes. So Dave says the alternative is for Sweden, the AFS. Maybe that could be, yes. Maybe that's it. So yes, I like that. Jacob from Twitter says, I contend most people, up to 95%, on either open or closed border, but somewhere in between. Jacob, I would think that was true several years ago. There is a reason why you hear me say very clearly and often that I am not anti-migrant. Why do I say it so much? Why do I burn it into people's brains? Because the backlash now is they're all bad, shut the border. I think most Americans now are close the border. I think that was not true 5 or 10 years ago. I think you're right. It was not true. Most Americans were not there. Now they are. You're finding more and more Americans who are anti-migrant. I see it in the Bronx. And for those who don't know about the Bronx is one of the most diverse boroughs with immigrants that there is. Tons of immigrants come to the Bronx. Lots. Literally hundreds of thousands have come to the Bronx. And the Bronx has been very open to migrants of all types. Not anymore. Not anymore. The Bronx is becoming anti-immigrant. Why? They've come in with no way of supporting them. Jacob, I think you're incorrect on this one. I think maybe 5, 10 years ago, you'd be right. I think now a lot more Americans are shut the border. And I want to make sure we find that answer. Joe teases me and goes, the migrants should have a plan. I'll buy that too. See, I'm saying plan. You can't just show up. Well, you can. You shouldn't just show up. That is a problem. You shouldn't just show up. Absolutely. So, Patty says, desperate humans exist everywhere. Proof of that today as your show has started. Yes, exactly right. I really agree with that. John says, if we had the Sharpe's Ellis Island model, the criminals wouldn't be coming in and they'd be working, not sucking up the welfare. This is a part where, again, I have to say that Mike is correct, but doesn't have to be correct. Do we honestly believe, and if you know migrants, if you know immigrants, if you've met them or you are one, either, do most immigrants come here because they want to get welfare? Most don't. Do some? Of course. Of course. Look, there's bad people in every group. There are obviously some who just say, I want to come here and get welfare. Of course there are some. But the vast majority, the vast majority are coming here because they want a better life. And usually they want to work. Most of them do. They want to work or they want to start a business. Almost always. Vast majority. And I think history has shown us this. So you're right, John. If we had an Ellis Island model, people would be going to work and starting businesses, and the criminals would be like, oh, this is not friendly for me to come here. Right now, it's friendly to come here. If it's not friendly, I go back to my environment piece that I've been talking about the entire damn show. If you make an environment that is not conducive to the bad guys coming, less bad guys will come. If you make an environment to where we're saying workers come, families who want to start a business come, you're a criminal? Not welcome. Less will come. It will be less welcoming. It's literally that simple. You have an Ellis Island plan. You have less bad guys showing up. Completely correct, John. Thank you. Andrea says, how can we afford to defend other countries, but we can't defend our own? This has been a problem for a long time, Andrea. And I've said it before and I'll keep saying it again. We literally have over 1 million military members. I think 2 million if you count reservists. About 2 million military people right now in our military who are prepared to sacrifice their life for our nation. And that's an amazing thing. Why would we do it? Why would we ask them to sacrifice their lives for some other nation? There's a thing that they taught me in the Marine Corps. It's not your job to die for your country. It's your job to make the other guy die for his country. That's your job. Well, that goes for sending people off to death too. If I'm going to send somebody off or order them to their death or go die, it should be for something that they believe in. It should be for something that they care about, their country, their nation. That's what it should be in. If you love other countries that much, I'm not mad at you. Good for you. You can voluntarily give your money. You can head over there yourself. You want to go fight for their country. No worries. This is your life. You do what you feel is appropriate. Good on you. Good on you. You love that country. You love those people, whatever. Do you. Why is America doing this? Right? Why is America doing this? Terrible idea. Gene says, like the war on drugs, when the punishment is so bad that people have nothing to lose, they act accordingly. And this is the point. I remember, a little bit off topic, but a buddy of mine years ago said, I'm not worried about when I have a kid. They'll do what I say. And I said, how can you be sure? He said, because I'll beat him until he does. And I said, does that really work? At one point, if it's a son, he'll be stronger than you. He might beat you up. Then what are you going to do? He said, I said, your dad, he beat you, right? He's like, yeah. Did you hear everything that he said? He said, no. I said, there we go. There we go. I'm not saying you should spank or shouldn't spank your kid. Again, no judgment on that. You do what you think's best with your children. All I'm saying is you can't do the beatings will continue until morale improves. You should punish the people who do the wrong thing, of course. And on top of that, change the environment to try to make it to where people don't do the bad thing, right? Make the environment to where less people will do the bad thing, and you can focus your anger, you can focus your punishment on the real bad people who are going to do bad things no matter what you do, right? You know this. There are some people, they're doing bad stuff. Got it. Get rid of them, not the rest. Patty, you're popping a lot of stuff out, and I appreciate it. Patty says, anger turned outward is fear. Anger turned inward is depression. I see it as we are fearful, depressed, and no longer hopeful. God, I hope you're wrong, Patty. It sounds terrible. I want you to be happy and hopeful. That's why I do this damn show every week. I hope you guys get some hope out of this. I'm trying to put a light and shine a light on some positive stuff that we can make change. The environment can change. We can do the right thing. We can. Am I wrong? You tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe, WYSL, Rochester, New York. Sharpe Radio. Back with your calls and more of the chat. Guys, thank you so much for chatting after the break.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust
by one.
are
We
on
don't
the
cut
line.
corners.
Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
Avon Gun and Hunting Supply, a locally owned and operated gun shop here for your hunting needs. With changes in New York State laws, they'll work with you to fulfill your needs. Open from 10 a.m.
From Avon
Tuesday
Tom
through
Walls.
Saturday.
Stop
Avon
in
Gun,
and let me
East
cook
Main
you the
Street,
best.
next to Tompkins Community Bank.
Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten Free Bakery has a great deal on Tuesdays. A large 4-topping pizza for $18, regular or gluten free. Call 226-9575. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten Free Bakery in Avon.
In 1926, the Avon Fire Department put an Aaron's Fox pumper into service. It now sits fully restored in a museum near Toronto. Avon has an opportunity to bring the Fox home for its 100th birthday for a fraction of its appraised value. The Aaron's Fox Full Circle Preservation Society needs your help. Look us up on Facebook or call 615-6463. Let's bring home the facts.
Sharpe Way Radio on the WYSL stations.
Oh, yes. It is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York, 585-346-3000. Thank you for giving me a small chunk of your afternoon. A lot of people went right from what I was talking about, which was an environment of people being desperate, people being angry, looking for respect, people wanting to lie and deceive, went right to migrants and immigration. And that's a part of it, no doubt. Particularly here in New York City right now, you see it. It's true. Sweden, Mike was right earlier caller. It's happening there. It isn't just that, though. It's average New Yorkers who are angry. And angry people react, right? I think the subway shooter, if I'm mistaken, he was not a migrant. Just a New Yorker. For whatever reason, you've seen it. People getting mad because you tell them to turn their music down. People fighting over, shooting people over minor things that shouldn't be a thing, but are. Because we're on a hair trigger. We're desperately trying to feel powerful, feel respect. So disrespect ends it. The amount of fights now in New York City because of disrespect, it's insane. It's all over the place. Hair trigger, ready to be angry, ready to be slighted, immediately, ready to fight, immediately. I got to have a gun because someone else might have a gun. Knowing that if I have that gun, I'm going away for at least 5 years just for having it. And I still do it. They shouldn't, but they do. I'm going to go back to the next piece. The migrant piece, when I said deception. Same thing with deception. There are actually migrants who come to America who have actual worries about asylum. That is a real thing. But because of our system, everyone coming across calls themselves an asylum seeker. So the people who actually are asylum seekers are not believed. No, you're not. Because our system is so broken, we have encouraged lying. So they do. We've said, just lie and we'll let you in. So they lie. You make a system that encourages lying, then we're angry about lying. If we let them go to an Ellis Island where if you just want to work, we can set you up with a job because there are people who do want to hire you. We could do that. And then the actual asylum seekers could get an actual hearing for actual asylum problems because they do exist. Just nowhere near all the people walking across that border. But they do exist. So now the reason for having the law is now gone. Now they're gone. What? It's crazy that we have set up a system of deception. We've set up a system of desperation. And then we wonder why they're desperate. If we look, we will never have a perfect system. Anyone who says that is lying to you or they're ignorant. Never. Can we have a far better system? Of course we can. Of course we can. Remember, the vast majority of criminals don't want to make things harder. They go to easier, softer targets, right? The criminals don't want to get caught. They don't want to get into a fight. They want to take whatever they want to take because they're criminals. And then they want to go back and enjoy whatever goods they took in whatever way they took it. That's what they want. So if we make it easy, they will go there. If we make it harder, they will go someplace else. This isn't magic, right? Why is it much rarer for 4 bodybuilders to get jumped compared to an old lady or old man? The bodybuilders might have more money, might be more lucrative to beat up bodybuilders. But I think they're going to go for the old man, old lady, because the odds are it's easier. So the criminals go to where it's easier. That's what they do. So yes, I know it's nuts, but it is true. Valerie says, "Hi, Larry. There's an important election going on down here today. I hope people get to the polls. Hasn't started snowing yet. This us country bumpkins think 2 inches snow per hour is nothing. Lull. If you get stuck, use fire pit ash to give tires traction." Thank you for that, Valerie. I appreciate it. Yes, for those who don't know, down here in Queens and parts of Nassau County, there is a special election today. The guy George Santos has been removed. His replacement is being voted on today, and it is snowing down here in New York City and Suffolk County and Nassau County. It is snowing. So yes, thank you for that. If you happen to be listening and you are in Queens or in that district, it's District 3, by the way. The rest of District 3.
Roger.
Please go vote. Voting would be important for you today. Today is a special election. Speaking of Nassau County, I have someone who is in Nassau County, maybe District 3. It is Roger. How are you, sir?
Yes, I'm in District 4, so that one sits on top of my district. Both of those
okay.
people.
So what's going on?
So check this out. Larry, this is where socialists like myself team up with libertarians like you to go against the government. The DEA is still helping to import drugs into the country themselves relevant. No different than what Mercury News reporter Gary Webb uncovered with the CIA, another big government agency that needs to be abolished, responsible for all the misery that's going on in the world, including why we have a migrant crisis as they run coup d'etats in countries south of Texas on the behalf of American shareholder corporate interests to install American puppet dictators who will hand over their sovereign resources to American corporate interests. So a lot of times,
fight a drug war unnecessarily on top of it.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So they're not just coming here for work. And a lot of times when they do come here for work, they send the money back home. They're not keeping money in the country anyway.
True also.
Okay. Oh, did I lose you?
No, I'm saying you're right. No argument for me.
Yeah. So a lot of it is stuff that we call, well, not us, me and you, but our government cause on behalf of American shareholder interests. Let's leave these countries alone, and then people will stop coming here, or at least less people will come here.
Well, I think your point's also a valid one, right? I think that most people would rather stay in their own country if they could, right? You're raised in your country, you know your country, your family and friends are in your country. Most people would like to stay in their own country if they could. We are, no question, our CIA, our foreign policy in general is making things worse. There's no doubt, right? Syria's broken because of us. Iraq is broken because of us. Afghanistan's broken because of us. Central America's broken because of us. Some of South America, depending upon what parts of it, are broken because of us also. I think you're right. That also goes back to my first piece. If we have a better environment, less people will come here. Some will still want to come here, and it's okay. But people would rather stay in their own country. It's what they know.
Yeah.
I agree. No fight for me, Roger. I appreciate it.
Call JB.
All right, I will. Thanks.
All right.
So, yes, he has a valid point also. It's another environmental issue, right? Is every part because of our foreign policy? No. But a lot is. It's true. It's true. Guys, thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. I will see you all very soon.